Day 10 in the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, and we have a break in the case. The FBI has just released a surveillance photo showing a, quote, subject in the case. Take a look at your screen. We'll put them up. You can see what appears to be a male figure armed, carrying a backpack. These photos are isolated images. They were taken from Nancy Guthrie's home surveillance camera. The FBI says they are seeking to identify this man, and they consider him a subject, not a suspect as of yet, not a person of interest as of yet either. The quote from the tweet from Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, was that law enforcement had uncovered these previously inaccessible new images showing an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door on the morning of her disappearance. You're looking at that individual now. If you have information, contact the FBI or the Pima County Sheriff's Department as soon as possible. Absolutely.
We are now on day 10 in the disappearance of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. And tonight, federal investigators have released images they believe could significantly shift the direction of this case. The FBI has made public 4 surveillance photographs recovered from Nancy Guthrie's home security system. The images show an unidentified male figure outside her front entrance in the early morning hours of the day she vanished. Authorities are calling him a subject, not yet a suspect. But the images are raising serious questions. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, disappeared from her home during the early hours of February 1st. Family members reported her missing after they were unable to reach her. There were no signs of forced entry initially reported, no immediate evidence of struggle publicly disclosed. And for 10 days, investigators have worked around the clock, combing the surrounding neighborhood, canvassing residents, reviewing surveillance footage, and following leads. Until now, the case had produced few public developments. That changed today. According to the FBI, previously inaccessible surveillance footage from Nancy's home security system was successfully recovered with assistance from technology specialists. Within that footage were 4 isolated images. The images show a male figure standing outside Nancy Guthrie's front door. He appears to be wearing a mask, gloves, a jacket with visible zipper detailing, and carrying a backpack. In at least one frame, he appears to be holding an object in his hand. Authorities have stated the individual appears armed. Investigators also say the individual may have tampered with the surveillance camera positioned at the front entrance. This detail is critical because it suggests awareness and possibly planning. Officials are being careful with their terminology. At this stage, the individual is being described as a subject. In law enforcement language, that means investigators want to identify and question the person seen in the images. It does not yet mean they have sufficient evidence to call him a suspect. There is a hierarchy in investigations. A subject is someone whose identity is unknown, but whose presence is significant. A person of interest is someone investigators believe may have relevant information or potential involvement. A suspect is someone for whom evidence suggests direct involvement in a crime. Right now, none authorities are at the first stage, but the release of these images indicates the investigation has entered a new phase. One of the most striking aspects of these images is location. This was not a rear entrance, not a side window, not a hidden alley. This individual approached the front door. The entrance is visible from the street. Other homes are nearby. Exterior lighting appears to be present in the background. There's nothing about the scene that suggests isolation or concealment from the neighborhood itself. That raises key investigative questions. Was the suspect confident no one would intervene? Did he study the home beforehand? Did he know Nancy's routine? In the images, the man's hands are covered. His face is concealed. His body is fully layered. This is not casual attire. Null gloves in criminal investigations often signal an effort to avoid leaving fingerprints or DNA. A face covering prevents identification through facial recognition technology or eyewitness testimony. The presence of a backpack suggests he may have carried tools, equipment, or items intended for a specific purpose. Investigators have not publicly confirmed what object appears in his hand, but they have described him as armed. Each of these elements suggests preparation. Preparation implies intent. Perhaps the most significant development is the FBI's statement that the individual appears to have tampered with the front door surveillance camera. If accurate, this changes the narrative entirely. Camera tampering indicates awareness of surveillance, a deliberate effort to disable recording, potential familiarity with the property. The footage recovered was described as previously inaccessible. That suggests either technical interference or damaged data that required forensic reconstruction. This may explain why these images were not released earlier. The disappearance occurred during the early morning hours. Authorities have not publicly confirmed the exact time Nancy was last seen or last contacted. However, the surveillance images are believed to correspond to that same early morning window. 10 days passed before these photos were released. During that time, investigators conducted neighborhood canvassing, reviewed traffic camera footage, interviewed family members and neighbors, searched surrounding areas, engaged federal resources. Now, with these images public, investigators are asking for help. Releasing suspect imagery to the public is both traditional and strategic. When internal leads are exhausted or limited, law enforcement often turns outward. Someone may recognize the backpack style, the jacket design, the way the individual stands, the individual's body build, the gait or walking posture. Even without a visible face, body language can be identifying. In recent years, forensic technology has expanded beyond facial recognition, and investigators may analyze gait patterns, shoulder positioning, limb proportions, height estimation, movement rhythm. Though authorities have not confirmed which advanced technologies are being used in this case, such analysis is now common in major investigations. Equally important is how this individual left the scene. Investigators have been reviewing traffic cameras surrounding the neighborhood perimeter. The goal is to identify any vehicle entering or exiting the area during the relevant time frame. Officials have described the neighborhood as somewhat isolated, almost like an island, meaning limited entry and exit routes. That could narrow possibilities. But as of this report, authorities have not announced a confirmed vehicle of interest. While investigators focus on evidence, Nancy Guthrie's family is enduring uncertainty. Every new development brings both hope and fear. Hope that answers are closer. Fear that the images represent something far more troubling. Family members have not publicly commented on the released images at the time of this reporting. There are critical, unanswered questions. Was there forced entry? Was Nancy targeted specifically? Was anything removed from the home? Did neighbors report unusual activity? Were there prior incidents in the area? Authorities have not released details regarding potential motives, and without confirmed evidence, speculation remains just that, speculation. From an investigative standpoint, several behavioral indicators stand out. The subject approached directly. He concealed identity. When he appears to have prepared for forensic avoidance, he may have disabled recording equipment. This combination points toward planning rather than spontaneity, but investigators will be cautious before drawing conclusions, because images alone do not establish guilt. The FBI and local sheriff's department are urging anyone with information to come forward. If you recognize the clothing, the backpack, the physical build, the timing of unusual activity, you are encouraged to contact authorities immediately. Even small details can matter. As the search for Nancy Guthrie enters its second week, these newly released images mark the most significant public development in the case so far. An unidentified armed individual at her front door in the early morning hours. 10 days later, the investigation intensifies. In This is Detective Philip, We will continue to follow this case and bring you verified updates as they become available. If you value responsible, evidence-based reporting, subscribe for continuing coverage. For now, the search continues, and the questions remain.